still suffering with sores in the mouth, but yeah, it's a lot better than it was yesterday. Anyway, welcome to the Sophomore Drome. Two albums go in, one will only come out. And this week we're going to look at two bands from the 90s and 2000s, and we're going to look at Suede and Ash and their sophomore albums. And as usual, the band that released first goes first. In this case, it is Suede, also known in the US as London Suede. Don't ask me why, it's just one of them things. They were formed in 1989 by singer Brett Anderson, guitarist Justine Frischman, bass player Matt Osman. They drew inspiration from glam rock and post-punk. And in 1992 they were dubbed the best new band in Britain. And they've been quite successful, still making albums today, and we are going to be ranking them at some stage. So their second album is Dog Man Star. Now this is released in October of 1994. So it's Brett Anderson on vocals, Bernard Butler on guitars, piano, Simon Gilbert on the drums, Matt Osmond on the bass, Phil Overhead on percussion, Simon Clark on trumpet. We've got Roddy Lorimer on saxophone, Richard Edwards on trombone, and Andrew Cronshaw on the flute and cymbala, bow wow, whatever that is. Tessa Niles does some vocals, Brian Gascoigne conducting, and the Tricycle Theatre Workshop children's vocals. So the first track on this one is called Introducing the Band. It's a very short thing. It's a really sort of psychedelic sort of rock track. It's a great little vocal like that, very nice. We Are the Pigs is second. I love the guitar work from Bernard Butler on here. One of my favourite tracks on the album, and it's a great vocal from Brett. Heroine comes on. Really, again, the guitar tones on this are fantastic. It's got a little bit of rip to it. It's a good track. Then we have the Wild Ones. I think this one just tends to repeat itself a little bit, but the structure of the song is pretty good. Daddy's Speeding comes next. Very strange track, but it's got a powerful vocal from Brett on it. The Power, not a bad track. Lots of strings on this, really adds to this track. The New Generation, my favourite track on this album. I love the bass line from Matt. I think it's one of the good tracks on this. That's very mid-90s sound in rock music. This Hollywood Life is pretty good. Second favourite track on it. It's got a great guitar solo on it. It's quite a well-structured track again. The Two of Us, atmospheric on this. I love the vocal from Brett. Absolutely stunning. Black and Blue, it's all right. I think the strings are okay on it. Then we have this long track called the Asphalt World. It's quite a long track. I do like the guitar solo on, but for me it's a little disjointed. It seems it's two or three pieces that are put together to make this big track. Still Life, excellent track to end the album. It's orchestral, the vocals there, super little track. Okay, I do like this album. I'm not going into great detail because I'm going to be ranking them very soon. So yeah, it's a good album. I like listening to it. There's a couple of repetitive songs in it, but on the whole it's pretty good. Okay, what did the critics think? Well, in 2011, Brian Boyd of the Irish Times spoke on how the record drew mass confusion among critics, with words such as overblown, pompous in many reviews. In the UK, while some admitted it was without its flaws, critics spoke favourably of the record's experimental arrangements. John Harris of NME called it a Startling record, an album surrounded by the white heat of something close to genius. He added, the songs on Dogman Star are grand designs, enacted against grandioso backdrops. Dave Sinclair of Q magazine wrote, with Dogman Star, the group has vindicated just about every claim that has ever been made on their behalf. Nicholas Barber of the Independent said, at times Dogman Star is a messy, preposterous, but no record collection is complete without it. Stuart McConey of Select called it a great record, at least as good as their debut, probably better when viewed through the reverse telescope of history. Good point from Stuart McConey. So let's have a look at the ratings. All Star did give it this is out of 5 stars. This is 4.5. Chicago Tribune gave it 3 stars out of 4. Entertainment Weekly gave it a B. The Guardian gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The Irish Times 4 out of 5. NME gave it 9 out of 10. Pitchfork gave it an 8.9 out of 10. Q gave it 5 out of 5. The Rolling Stone gave it 3.5, and Select give it a 4 out of 5. How do the fans like it? We got to number 3 here in the UK. Number 10 in the European 100 album charts. Australia at number 73. Sweden got number 5 and Japan 39. And it did go gold here in the UK. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. Now, I think some of the songs on here are good, but they are a little bit, they're quite deep in places as well, and they're a little bit pompous as well, as critics have said. Very ambitious, but not too bad. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Production. It's very good production on here. Everything's crisp and clear. They add in the strings, really are. The production, the strings are really good. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Reception. Went down really well with the fans here in the UK. The critics, a lot of the, I think the British-based critics liked it. I think outside they couldn't quite cope, but I'm going to still give it a 4 out of 5. The cover design, it's a bit dowdy, a bit dark. It's okay. So I'm going to give that 3 out of 5. So for Suede's Dogman Star, give us a total of 14 out of 20. Okay, coming up next are Ash. Now they're from Northern Ireland, and they're actually from Downpatrick in County Down, which is up the road from where Mastermind Dave lives. I know Downpatrick very well. And they were formed in 1989 by Tim Wheeler, Mark Hamilton and Rick McMurray. They were a 3-piece at the time, and then they brought in Charlotte Hatherley. And their second album is Nuclear Sounds, and it was released in 1998. So you've got Tim Wheeler on guitars, and Mark Hamilton on the bass, Rick McMurray on drums, and Charlotte Hatherley on guitars and vocals. First track on this is called Products. I love this. I love Mark's bass line. It's meaty. Rick's drumming is good as well. It's got some great riffs. It's a good opener. Low Ebb. The use of the strings on this is really good. Again, a band incorporating strings on their album. Some nice guitar work on here from Charlotte and Tim. Excellent little track. Jesus Says comes next. It reminds me of, you remember Plastic Bertrand's Sans Plan Pour Moi at the beginning? That's what that reminds me of. It's a great little track. Wildsurf is a typical sort of 90s rock track. Pretty good. folk song, quite gentle for Ash. I like this track because it's a little bit different. Then we get Numbskull, great guitar work on here. I love the guitar tones on this. It's got lots of energy. Burnout, love the lyrics, the music, it is great. It's a great sort of well put together track. But the singing and the music don't sort of fit, but it works if you get what I mean. Aphrodite is the next track. Charlotte's, I like Charlotte on here. She sort of, her vocal is pretty good. Fortune Teller, strong riffs, great little rock track like that one. I'm Gonna Fall. I love Charlotte's vocal on here. She's got a lovely voice. That was the last track. Again, a good album. I like this album. It's got a lot of interesting pieces, and again, experimental, just like Suede. They're starting to experiment with their music. As I say, I'm not going to say too much because Ash are coming up very shortly as well. It's a pretty solid album, though, this is. Now, there's not been much written about this, but Music reviewer Jason Ankley said, while the album lacks the imitation appeal of 1977, over the course of repeated listens, it emerges as the group's most bracing effort to date. Further wrote that Hatherley's galvanises Wheeler's songs, giving them dimension and scope that had previously lacked. Sylvia Patterson of the NME noted 2 songs are completely unlistenable to anyone over the age of 15, which only served to make Nuclear Sounds of the first mainstream rock and roll record of 1998 to do its job properly. Wall of Sound, Russell Hall wrote, sees Ash building upon their joyous abandon of hook-laden melodies that exemplified their debut. Thompson praised the band for refining their sound while at the same time including elements of other genres, which is absolutely right. So let's have a look at what they all said. So AllMusic gave it a 4.5. Alternative Rock gave it an 8 out of 10. NME gave it an 8 out of 10. Pitchfork 6.9 out of 10. Rock Hard gave it 6 out of 10. Wall of Sound 80 out of 100. How did it do in the charts? Well, it got to number 7 here in the UK, number 8 in the Scottish charts, and 37 in Norway and 44 in Australia, and got a gold disc here in the UK. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Okay, song quality. I think the songs on here are pretty good. There are a couple of that are a bit weird, but they were still learning, so I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Production. I've always found this production in places a little bit mixed. I got it right on some tracks and I didn't get it right on others, so I'm going to give that 3. Reception. Got gold disc, number 7 in the charts. Mixed bag, but I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5. Cover design. It's a good picture of them. I mean, Charlotte looks so laid back, it's unreal. But the colours don't look right. So I'm going to give that a 3. So for Nuclear Sounds by Ash gives us a total of 13 out of 20. So, point-wise, it's a win for Suede. Oh, these are not probably the best albums by these bands, but they were still in their learning curve. But out of the two, I think the point says about it, I think Suede were a little bit more ambitious and a little bit more experimental, and they did push the boundaries out on that album, regardless of what the critics said. I think it was more groundbreaking. Ash hadn't they started on their next album where they started to really develop it. So I'm going to give this one to Suede today. Very close call. Anyway, you know the drill now. At 2 o'clock, the poll will go up in the community, and we'll put the poll in the live stream tonight. I've got a funny feeling you may go against me. You need to, because you, at the moment, you are trailing. So good luck on everything on that one. Okay, I'll be back soon with a pick and mix, and today it's a trip down memory lane, which means it's a UK top 10 for this day in 1968. So that's coming up really soon. So bye for now.